We got a hostage situation for you here.
They had no way out.
Check the other bodies, see which ones have been infected.
Specimen appears to be approximately 8 years gestation.
They had no idea what they were in for.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2008 horror science fiction film Alien Raiders. The film is directed by Ben Rock and it stars Carlos Bernard, Matthew St. Patrick, Rockman Dunbar, Courtney Ford and Jeffrey Lycan. Right, okay, the film is set in like a supermarket and it's around Christmas time, I believe, which isn't really relevant to the film. And a group of armed assailants enter the supermarket and take a number of people hostage. Obviously, this alerts the services, the police and stuff that end up surrounding the supermarket, but they are intent on not leaving and keeping the hostages inside. Because they believe that essentially an alien invasion has taken place and that one or more than one of people within the supermarket may well be infected. And they believe that they can end this potential invasion right here, right now, in this supermarket if they can track down what they think might be like the king or the queen of these alien species. So they plan to conduct a test on all the employees in order to eliminate this threat. Right, what are my thoughts on Alien Raiders? Well, I have to be honest, I'd never heard of this film. And this film came to my attention, well, obviously because I'm on YouTube. I watch a lot of other people's content and stuff on YouTube, and I noticed somebody had reviewed this. I don't even think it was fairly recent. I think it was certainly several months ago, possibly. And they described it as The Thing in a supermarket. And that immediately got my interest up because The Thing is one of my favourite horror science fiction films of all time. It's an absolute stone cold classic. It's a 10 out of 10 as far as I'm concerned. And if there are films out there that try and mimic or copy The Thing, I'm interested. Now, I didn't expect this to be up to the production values of The Thing or even mimic or copy it, superbly well or anything. But what we do get here is a surprisingly enjoyable, like, B-movie type thing. It doesn't do a very good job of explaining and setting up the movie. It all feels a bit confused. And we learn, as we go further down the film, that these people that have actually taken control of this supermarket and taken the hostages have been kind of battling these aliens for, I'm not even sure how long, let's just say, that evening. They're aware of like this invasion and they've been kind of battling these aliens and they've kind of tracked them, the final ones, down to this supermarket. And you learn some of that through flashbacks and some imagery here and there, but it's all a bit disjointed. It doesn't kind of sit well with the rest of the film. So you kind of feel like you're missing something when you're watching this film. You're missing some important details that's kind of led them to where they are in this supermarket. And I just think the film probably would have been better. I actually thought a couple of times while watching this film, I actually prefer to see the other story, when the aliens first landed and this group of people discovered them or figured out who they were and what they were doing and what their intentions were and started tracking them down and taking them out. That almost felt like that could have been the first part of the film, and this supermarket thing could have been either part 2 of the film or like the conclusion to the film. It feels like they kind of stretch out this supermarket thing throughout the whole film, and it's almost like they spend too much time, if you like, on these hostages. And while this film definitely mimics The Thing in the sense of, like in The Thing, they do the thing with the blood and they test it. They've got their own test here to test whether one of these humans is in actual fact infected by one of these alien creatures. They have their own test, and I won't spoil what that test is. Whereas The Thing focused on that test for like a section of the film, and it's very impressive visually and interesting how they do it, and it's really cool to watch. This film focuses far too long on this test. and you only actually see, I think, 1 or 2 people going through this test. And the end results of one being exposed as an alien is not that scary or impressive either. And then once they kind of are battling with one of these creatures in the supermarket, like the most powerful one, you don't see enough of it. It's almost like it's, I wouldn't go far as to say it's like shaky cam, but you don't get to see enough of it. And it's clearly a threat because it's taking people out left, right, and centre. And the film doesn't explore or explain either particularly well. There are some people who have the abilities to kind of sense these creatures, because at the beginning there's one of them coming in with the supermarket with them and kind of laying his hands on people and testing them to see if they are human or this creature. And again, that was an interesting dynamic that I think they could have explored more. Now, again, I just kept thinking, well, that would have been really cool for them. How did they discover this? I would have liked to have known how they discovered this and seen how that happened. So while I think there are elements of this film are really quite fun and quite entertaining on a B-movie level, it's almost like a B-movie with decent production values. It's not hard to watch. It's not difficult to watch. The pacing's pretty decent. The story's fun. The sci-fi elements and the horror elements, I don't think they explore enough in this film. I think they try and focus too much on characters that aren't particularly well fleshed out. Either are the hostages or the people that are taking over the supermarket. And the whole thing with the thing, this you can't trust anybody scenario, is we got to know them characters a little bit more. Whereas in this, we don't really get that at all. We don't really get to learn a lot about these characters, and you certainly don't kind of have that sense of tension as what if it's that character? That's one of my favourites. So it's a little bit of misstep at times, but it's certainly not unwatchable. There are some fun moments to be had with this film if you're looking for a little bit of a cheap Thing clone, but don't be going into it with high expectations or anything, because you'll probably come away disappointed. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.